This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Run It Back. I am your host, Jazsmin Halliburton, and joined with me tonight is a man we have not seen in a while, Mr. Jon the Shake Grove. Thank you for being on the show tonight, my man.
Oh my goodness, it's always an honor to be on Run It Back with Jazsmin Halliburton. It's been too long. I've been dealing with a little bit of, dealing with some schoolwork here or there, but, we're approaching spring break. Couldn't have asked for a better time to hop on.
Hey, schoolwork comes first. All right, forget about me when it's time for school, okay? I get that. But all right, jumping right into it. Regular season is done, ladies and gentlemen. The regular season is done for K-State women's basketball. It's finally, put that in the rearview mirror. K-State has finished this season, finished the regular season, 24-6. I think, what is that? The most wins for sure in the Jeff Mittie era, but this is the most wins since 2008, 2009 season, where they had 25. Oh, I know it hurts because I know there's a couple here and there where we could have surpassed that record, but still, if someone told me last season, that K-State women's basketball was going to finish this season 24-6, I'd be kind of like, shut your mouth, for real? I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good.
It's a little head twist right there. It's like, what?
Exactly. I'd be like, you like for real? I thought you maybe need some, you need the hospital, you want some drugs? But no, that's not the case. Ain't nobody need to be on some drugs, because we see it with our own two eyes how well this team has done. And I understand the last literal month has been hell for K-State women's basketball, essentially, as far as things being non-stressful, just completely be yelling at my TV in utter pain, and just because of stress. February has seemed to jump us a little bit. It's not as far as losses go, because it sucks they had a few losses in this month, but it wasn't mainly the losses. It was just every single game just was a complete ball of stress from top to bottom of the Big 12. You had the best teams in the Big 12 causing us stress, as you would suspect. But then you also had the bottom of the team in the Big 12 causing us stress where you wouldn't fully suspect. But,
it's one of those scenarios. It's one of those scenarios where you just have to go and call a cardiologist, and not just, that's not a one-time trip. You're going to have to make that multiple times, especially late in the season, where I just felt like, oh my gosh, this team has already given me enough stress. Now I'm going to have to put my cardiologist on speed dial at this point.
I need to get a cardiologist, but we already know they're called cardiac cats for a reason, and that applies with every single sport. We've grown to this. I don't know how often cardiac cats been a thing, but it sure as hell has been the past couple years. That's for damn sure. But bright side, this past weekend, the very last game of the season against Texas Tech, the one game, and I swear it feels like 20 years, where it was stress free.
I know,
and I'm grateful for it. K-State finally had a game and literally whooped some behind, and it's been a long time coming. But I know change was going to come, and it came right then against Texas Tech. They ended up winning by a lot, 73-49. I understand. It's been stressful. The month's been stressful. We've been getting 3-point games, 4-point games, overtimes. You should be packing up teams that we're not packing up, and it's just stress, ball of stress. But that wasn't the case against Texas.
Wasn't it? Nope.
I'm just like, I can breathe, and that made me feel good, because damn it, I've missed y'all. I've missed this. Jon, I missed it. Let me read off some of the stats. K-State shooting 46.7% from the field. Excellent. What's even better, Texas Tech shooting 27% from the field. Hallelujah. K-State shooting 33% from three. Texas Tech 29%. Free throws, still got to work on those. K-State ended up shooting 58% from the free throw line. But they forced 18 Texas Tech turnovers. The clamps. The clamps that we've seen so many times this year. We know. But the clamps that we've been able to see for the first true time in such a dominant fashion. You know what I mean? It's just nice to see a game like this, Jon.
It has just kind of, getting that tension. You're kind of relieving yourself from all that tension and all that chaos that has been going on for the past few games. Of course, the Wildcats have not necessarily played their best ball to the point where they played against Texas Tech. But they were able to step up late. It looked as if this team was playing with more of a chip on their shoulder since the Iowa State game, kind of knowing that these are several of the games that K-State needs to win, just from an overall talent standpoint, but also just based on looking at where the team is currently situated in regards to not just the Big 12 tournament race, but also the NCAA tournament chances and potentially hosting the first and second rounds in Manhattan. The Wildcats featured 4 players in double figures. Serena Sundell had 13 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. Gabby Gregory notched 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals as well. Junior guard Jalen Glenn, she also added 10 points. One of the most underrated players in women's basketball, for that matter, as well. She added 10 points. Team high 7 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 assists. And you also got Ayoka Lee, who chipped in with 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks. It was great to see four Wildcats in double figures on Saturday for certain. And I think you forgot to point this out as well. K-State secured the program's most league wins since 2007-2008 as well, with 13. So you got 13 wins. You got several of the losses here, but what's more important now is that you're in the Big 12 tournament. Now you've locked up that double bye, so you got a little bit of a chance to rest up. So it feels good to get the monkey upper back in terms of tight competitive games, and you got a few more days off to prepare for really the quarterfinals. Yeah, but the quarterfinals for the Big 12 tournament, Kansas City.
Yeah, for sure. And glad that you kind of like brought it up, kind of get the monkey off their backs a little bit, even though I hate that it might have taken them their first loss at home at senior night for that monkey to be like, all right, let me just shake this mug off. Because that game, that hurt. Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. I thought it was one of the games where like, okay, Iowa State at home, obviously for Armageddon. Clearly a bad taste in their mouth from losing to them in double OT the last time out, and especially since it was a game that they could have closed out at the free throw line, but weren't able to do so. But then that was a game where Iowa State, they came in and handled business. I hate that, damn it. I hate it. I really, really do. They were literally one game away from being undefeated at home for an entire season. Like, you know how hard that is. That's really hard. The Big 12 is stacked. It's stacked in men's. It's stacked in women's too. So you know how hard it is to like go throughout an entire season like at home undefeated. It is, and the fact that they were that close on senior night as well to a team that that they just kicked our butts. Mm-hmm. Like they kicked our butts. They shot 50% from the field. Iowa State did 33% from 3. And the thing is, like, I was looking at the stats earlier from that game, and I mean, like, a lot of stats were fairly equal. There wasn't like any place where like Iowa State had a glaring what is the word, like against us. They had a glaring advantage. Yeah, advantage against us outside.
Oh, I thought you meant like glaring disadvantage, like if there was anything bad on Iowa State's.
I see a glaring advantage for Iowa State,
right.
To K-State. There was everything was pretty even outside of the rebounding. Iowa State had 47 rebounds. K-State had 30. They got out rebounded by 17, and that sucks when you lose a game by 8 points. That's possessions. That's 17 different possessions where you would have made up that 8-point difference. You know what I mean? Everything else was like fairly even. I get they were shooting 50% from the field. K-State, shooting 40. That's been around the max. But K-State shot really well from 3. They had 11 3-pointers. There's not many games that K-State has had like 11 3-pointers, over 10 3-pointers. But they did in this game. They only missed math. I think that is 6 free throws. A little better than what they have in other times. The other times the free throw percentage is a little bit woof, that needs to be better. But Iowa State, they missed 5 free throws. There's a lot of things that were pretty equal. Like K-State, they forced more turnovers. Iowa State had 16 turnovers. K-State only had 10. They had more, like K-State had more steals. It was fairly like decent evenly across the board outside of that field goal percentage of Iowa State just doing that damage that they do. And of course, they're not doing what it needed to be done on the boards. And I think he had 46 paint points.
Yeah. I think just looking back at that game in particular, while Iowa State may have had more of these self-inflicted wounds when it came to turnovers, just several errors on their part. I mean, they had 4 players in double figures. Addie Brown, who comes from Kansas for that matter, led the team with 24 points and 11 rebounds. I mean, it's always K-State. Well, it's always Iowa State when it comes to recruiting all these all these kids from Kansas. They're always going to have this pulse that they're going to want from the Wildcats for that matter. But they were also the first team this season to shoot 50% or better from the field against the Wildcats as well. So it was a little bit disappointing for that matter. K-State just kind of responded on the offensive end. I take that back. It looked more as if when K-State got something going on the offensive end, Iowa State was able to capitalize with an answer on their own as well. So a little bit of a deflating way to end off senior night. I agree with you, Jazsmin. It just felt gut wrenching that K-State was right there, like nearly on the verge of being undefeated in Bramlage Coliseum, making it one of the most intense atmospheres in women's basketball. And I still agree. I mean, the amount of fan support that has continued to improve throughout the year has been fantastic. Simply one of the more unrivaled environments in women's basketball. But they were able to respond a few days later and just played much better basketball. And I think also on top of that, with the free throw concerns, I think sometimes it's just the team kind of getting into its own head at times, especially when it comes to focus or the lack of endurance for that matter as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just one of those things like I would say just seems like overall like just a bad matchup, essentially. Like it's just like it is always just one of those teams where you just match up poorly against. And Iowa State is one of those teams. Like they're not like they're not a team to where you just have to shut down one player and, essentially you're good. You can pack up everybody else because no one else is a threat. Like what they got over there, they can be a problem for a long time. Literally 1 through 5.
Well, not just stopping. I mean, not just trying to stop one player. You have to stop that certain player with potentially one or more players for that matter as well, especially just with the inside game with Addie Brown and Audie Crooks for that matter. She continues to put up big numbers for the Cyclones as well. So that team has really been on a spark late in the season. I know they were at one point in the bubble looking at potentially making an NCAA tournament, but they got the wins they needed to. They finished around, not by higher at the higher end of the Big 12 standings, but they're up there. They're up there.
Yeah, for sure. But up next, guys, we have a really, really special guest. We have none other than Coach Jeff Mittie coming back on the show. He was on the show just a few weeks ago, already now at the end of the regular season. So excited to have him back. So on the other side of the break, we will be talking to him. But first, homefieldapparel.com. Please go there. Get your shirts, get your hats, get your hoodies, get whatever you want to get. Get your tank tops. It doesn't even have to be from K-State. They got this really cool motorsport line they have coming out, bro. Just go on there, get you some of that stuff, because I promise you they will not be disappointing. All right, homefieldapparel.com. We'll be right back on Run It Back.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Run It Back. I have a very special guest. Like I said I would. None other than Coach Jeff Mittie back on the show after, 3 days? It seems like you were just on the show, but I'm glad to have you back on.
Yeah, good to be back on. Yeah, always good to be talking basketball this time of the year.
Oh, don't you just love it? And honestly, Coach, I know you said last time that, man, like, we hope to, get me out there for a game. I hate, but I was not able to do so. At least not for the regular season. There are still chances for, if you guys, hosting a couple games for the NCAA tournament, then I might just have to find my butt out there. I'm just going to tell my job, be like, look, you not contact me for at least 24 hours because I'm busy. They don't have to know what I'm busy with. Okay.
That'd be great.
Be like, I'm sick.
That would be great.
That could be simple, you know what I mean? Add a little love to the equation back in Manhattan,
There you go.
But Coach Mittie, of course, end of the regular season, everything's packed up. That part is done. Now, what everyone loves the most, basketball in March. You know what I mean? And hopefully, basketball all the way up to early April, definitely to be the goal. But I know the last few games, at least the last, month or so, games have been a little bit tighter. A little bit, I know for a fan like myself watching on my couch, y'all have been stressing me out, Coach.
Yeah.
Like, you've been stressing me out. But this past weekend against Texas Tech, that's the team that we grown so used to seeing, the team that we saw at the beginning of the season, the beginning of Big 12 play, be like, boom, they're back. This is what they're on. What has been the difference between that game against Texas Tech and, of course, how everything else was, earlier and throughout the month of February?
Well, I think a couple things. Obviously Lee was out for 7 games, and I think that it's hard when you're missing an All-American and not just a great player, but a position that changes you, right? So offensively, you go from a lot of post touches to now running a little bit different offense and different emphasis, but I think we grinded some victories. I was very proud of our group. We grinded out some really close victories. And then I think when we got Lee back, there was that period of time where, one, she's not healthy enough to play extended minutes. She was limited in her minutes. But just blending her back in, we just weren't in sync from an offensive standpoint and just weren't playing very well. We were playing solid, but, solid in the Big 12 on a lot of nights can get you beat. But I was proud of our group. We grinded through, and you look at, we got a great road victory at Baylor without Lee, and we beat Kansas without Lee right after she got injured. And so we had some good victories in that stretch, but you're right. We had a lot of really, really close games. And I think that'll benefit us going forward, though. We won a lot of close games. We lost some close ones, but at the same time, we won more than we lost. And it was good to finish strong at Texas Tech. I think that's the most healthy we'd been in probably a month. And you could see, we got a big lead early. We extended the lead, and we walk out of there with a 23, 24-point victory on the road, which is hard to do.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned that right now, like during that game against Texas Tech, that this is like the healthiest you guys have been. Now going into a postseason, the Big 12 tournament, it's a little bit of a weirder process than, everyone's used to because, obviously they've added more teams. Now you guys get to play, day 3, right? So how is that being able to help everyone, get healthy, get strong, get mentally prepared for the postseason?
Well, I think, we earned the double bye, and so we're the 3 seed. OU the 1, Texas the 2, but I think in earning the double bye, the good thing for us is Lee really hasn't had full practices till this week. So she was limited in practice, but now we're really able to get her some full practices this week. And, I think that's a big benefit. I think the rest is a big benefit. Anytime you can get an extra day of rest this time of the year when you're cranking up, I think can be a benefit for your basketball team. I think the tournament will be great. First time with 14 teams. I think it'll be a very interesting format, but we'll be excited to go on Saturday. And while we don't know who we play, that's the excitement and fun of tournament basketball.
And how do you guys, how do you guys prepare for, obviously these couple days, you don't know who you're going to play. So how do you prepare the game plan knowing when you have no idea who your opponent's going to be?
Yeah, I think the way I do it is we've been able to focus on us for the first couple of days of the week. And then any commonalities that we see with the three teams that we might play. We might play Central Florida. We might play Cincinnati. We might play West Virginia. Any commonalities with ball screens or zoom action or things that we can work on defensively that would be similar, we'll work on. And then offensively, that doesn't change too much. This time of the year, I don't add a whole lot of different stuff, but I might tweak a few things. I might, but really you're trying to refine what you were doing and trying to do it better going into the tournament and just play as, sharp and execute as well as you can, because at this time of the year, you're going to have a lot of games that come down to those last 5 minutes.
For sure. So where is everybody's head at coming into, obviously, you had a great regular season, 24-6. That is a damn good season, coach. But now postseason starts. Doesn't matter what your record was. Everyone starts 0-0. So where is everybody at mentally now?
Yeah, I think that's right. We take the, for example, for the Big 12 tournament, we take the seeds off the bracket because the seeds don't matter. It's everybody's got the same opportunity for a championship. I think that the one thing the Texas Tech victory did for us was to kind of clear our mind a little bit. We were coming off of a lot of close losses there. Not a lot of close losses, but a couple close losses in the week. And I think that kind of refreshed our group. And they've practiced with a good energy this week. I like where our headspace is at going into the tournament. And we believe that we can win this tournament. And we'll go on with that attitude that we want to come home with a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, for sure. And I know offensively, I understand that Iowa State wasn't the ending that a lot of us wanted, of course, but it was still a fairly strong offensive game for the Cats. And obviously Texas Tech, a really good offensive game. I know Iowa State, you guys put up, 11 three-pointers in that game, and clearly was able to get a lead, jump on Texas Tech early, and keep that lead, just like he said. But honestly, I feel like it was good to see Gabby really start to see the ball go through the hoop, especially the last couple games. What does it mean for her to start getting that ball rolling offensively for her, especially going later into the postseason?
Well, she's a great weapon for us, and she struggled shooting the ball for a good portion of this year and battled some injuries through that stretch. But, she has seen it go through now two games in a row. I thought our offense, I think you're right, Jazsmin, I thought our offense against Iowa State played very well. So I think that was a big step forward for us. And we carried that over to the Tech game. But Gabby's a big part of this. And if she can get hot here in the month of March and April, that would be an awesome weapon for us to have.
Awesome. So what do you want to see over the team overall? What do you want to see get better coming into this postseason?
Well, I think our bench has got to continue to play better. That was the one thing that we've been able to get, I think, good performances from Maupin. We've been able to get good performances from Walker. We've been able to get good performances from Sides, but we're still trying to get that consistency level of our bench. And, we've seen good moments for them. Sanchez, I was pleased that she ended the Texas Tech game strong because she had struggled that last week. And so we want to get that bench. We want to have as much depth as we can have playing well going into the postseason. So that's been a good opportunity this week as well, is to really get that bench some extra scrimmage time, rest the group that's been playing 30-plus minutes, but get the bench some extra scrimmage time against the practice squad. And I think it's gone well. I think our group has responded well. I see improvement in them. And, like I said, you want to have as many players playing well going into the postseason as you can.
Of course. Well, I know I got one last thing to ask you. I was listening to the Jeff Mittie show that was the start of the week, even though it was minus Jeff Mittie, it had the players on there. And I know that Brian Smoller was asking Gabby Gregory about a certain drill that you guys do.
Okay.
that I think that had her in the post, and you would always try to take a charge, and she knew that you were going to try to take a charge. So this was last season. And so when she knew you were going to take a charge, she just ended up putting her shoulder down and unfortunately knocked you on your behind. They talked about that, but she said that y'all don't do that drill this year. What happened, Coach? Was that the reason? Was that the cutoff right then?
No, Gabby likes to tell fibs when she talks about the drill that we have a charge drill that we do, and it's a charge drill and it's a block shot drill. So you take a charge, get to your feet, and then you contest a layup, what we call walling up on the other side. I wasn't real happy with the way they were taking charges, so I stepped in to demonstrate the charge. And, it was an obvious charge. Gabby said it was a block, but it was an obvious charge.
You got the whistle.
The bad thing is the bad thing is I had to admit the next day that I was sore from taking one charge. So anyways, we do that drill more in the off season than we do during the season. I mean, it's a physical drill, and it's not something that we do a lot once the games get going. But during the off season, we do it probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Well, all right. I'm glad you said the story straight, because she just said that you were old, and that's just what happened. So I'm glad we got 2 sides to every story, right?
Yep, Gabby likes to reference that a lot, and she's not wrong. But anyways, it's a good competitive drill. Our team really grew this year defensively. I was really proud of the fact that we ended the year first in the Big 12 in field goal percentage defense, first in the Big 12 in blocks. I think we were second in 3-point percentage defense and third in steals, and really felt like this team defensively really had a great identity throughout the year. So maybe some of those drills we had during the year helped.
Oh, for sure. Well, Coach, I really, really appreciate you for hopping on the show once again. And I promise you, I said it last time, if y'all able to host two first rounds, the first 2 rounds, y'all able to host, I'm going to be there. If y'all can try to do that on a Monday or Tuesday, if there's something with scheduling guys to make that happen, I promise you, I'm just up the road. I'll hop in the car and I'm down there.
All right, Jazsmin, I'm going to hold you to that now. All right.
Hey, this is recorded. Everyone can hear it. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows my Twitter, my Instagram. They will DM me with all kinds of hell if I don't. And I want to hold them to that. I truly do.
Well, and I truly hope I see you in Manhattan in a couple weeks then.
Yes, sir. I got you.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Thank you.